All right, we're going to start tonight with we have two presentations tonight. Our first presentation is going to be from our mayor on the state of the township. Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, everybody. Council members, residents of the public, and those who are invested in East Brunswick. Welcome to the 2026 State of the Township Address for the Township of East Brunswick. I'm going to start, as most people do, with the economy. Wasn't it James Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. So we're going to talk about money from the beginning. As I take a tour of a lot of the different township departments that have given me this information, feel free to look on the township website, as each one of the department heads have put up summaries of what's gone on in the department for the past year and their plans for 2026, from which the highlights are in this discussion tonight. Talking about money, our tax assessor this past year was able to tell us that we are about 16,000 residential units in the township, 13 apartment complexes, 625 commercial businesses, and 106 industrial businesses. We remain an overwhelmingly residential community. In this past year, there were 245 new assessments that were added to the township's tax rolls, bringing in an additional $7.8 million in new ratables. They processed 822 new deeds, and a topic that we typically review here on township council meetings is about discussing individuals who have been veterans who are constituted a disabled status, which allows them to not pay property taxes. That's a process that's very difficult to get through, but once it's achieved, we put that and take the taxes off the books, just so that people have an idea the flavor and the amount of money we're talking about with this. For the last year, despite all the times we hear about this, this amounted to $165,000 in less revenue, which is a de minimis amount on our total taxes. Our last year, there were 135 tax appeals. That is a tick up from what it had been over the past couple of years, where for the last 3 years, it averaged somewhere around 40 to 42 tax appeals per year. In our finance department, we continue to maintain a AA+ rating by Moody's. This is in large part due to our cash management program, our very high collection ratio, low debt ratio. We maintain and build healthy reserves, and we have healthy cash balances, and the market recognizes that. And the ability to have a high rating allows us to borrow money at much lower rates than you could possibly get on the market. As an example, the shared service agreement that we entered into with the school board last year was somewhere around a 3.3% bond, which is unheard of, and that's only because of our great tax rating. And speaking of shared services, we continue to have shared services with the fire departments in East Brunswick, all three, and the Board of Education. Township debt, exclusive of the Board of Education and Fire Department, stands at $96 million, which includes $20 million of approved but not yet issued debt, primarily for the ice rink. That is a net increase of $10 million, and it still keeps us at an extraordinarily low debt ratio. By township debt limits are allowed to be as high as 3.5% of assessed property value. Ours stands at well under 1% of the total permitted. In terms of economic development for the township, we saw 80 new businesses come into town in 2025, with a variety of restaurants all through a bunch of different sectors, from diverse ethnicities to diners to coffee shops, fast food, ice cream. We also remain a very important part of a life science hub in this general region, which sees the home to arguably the largest number of life science, biotechnology, cell and gene research, photonics, personal care products, all within this region, and East Brunswick is certainly one among many towns in this region that can call companies such as that home. These are high-paying jobs, and the workforce that supports those industries are right here. We also saw 20 businesses expand in the township, and we remain a large and diverse medical corridor. We joke about the Miracle Mile on Cranberry Road, but it's home to a ton of healthcare, life science-related industries, not the least of which is supported by the fact that we have 3 hospital systems on each side of Route 18, Hackensack Meridian on the south and Robert Wood Johnson and St. Peter's to the north in New Brunswick. In 2026, we should be seeing Boness, which will be the Italian restaurant opening up in Legacy. Brunswick Square Mall will have all of its work done. The people who have signed contracts have all done so with the proviso that the mall would have the space available by holiday season of this year. And holiday season is not a week before Christmas. It usually starts in the fall. So they are on high speed to get that work done. We will also see the opening of the last phase of the Legacy project, and Vermella Phase 1 should open up this summer. Our Chamber of Commerce saw 54 new members. There are now over 300 members in our regional chamber. We have a business and economic growth advisory group who have been responsible for programs such as the spring and summer markets. They've been responsible for sponsoring public events and programs that help support business, programs such as those brought by the Economic Development Authority, the SBLA, and Middlesex County, all of which provide loans and grants to small businesses. They're also in the Economic Development Zone responsible for our Restaurant Week, and they've helped put us as a film-ready township, meaning that we are and have adopted ordinances that will allow the film industry which is growing very rapidly here in New Jersey, to come and film in East Brunswick. We actually had one for a part of a movie that was done at the Chateau a couple of months ago. Our police department has a very long report that was given to us by Chief Frank Lasacco. That will be up on the township's website and the police department website for those of you to review. That is just too much in there for me to bring light to all of that here today. But suffice to say that in the past year, there were almost 80,000 calls to the police department, vehicle stops, over 15,000, which is an almost 57% increase over the year before, and motor vehicle accidents are actually down 9%. In 2025, we had 6 officers retired. There were 9 new officers hired. Additionally, in 2025, the police department achieved re-accreditation with the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. The first time that accreditation was achieved was in 2019. It's a 3-year accreditation. It was re-accredited in 2022, and this year in 2025, bringing us to being one of only 12% of police departments that have that distinction. Our patrol units stopped over 80,000 entries. These included motor vehicle accidents, burglaries, first aid, violent and nonviolent crimes. We're investing and continue to invest in a drone program. We believe very strongly that technology, drones, AI, all can help expand the reach of the police department. So this year we will be training more people to run the drone program and getting in new drones, which could be used both for crime instances and first responder issues. The last thing I'll mention about that is the increased and continued effort on training. I'm sure many of you are aware, the news media has seemed to concentrate on a lot of incidences going on across the country in regards to law enforcement in the form of ICE and border control in ways that point out the obvious, which is that good policing requires training. And training is something that you can't do in a couple of hours. Our police department logged in over 6,100 hours in training this past year, which based on the number of officers we have, would amount to over 60 hours per person. Our Department of Aging saw a census of 133 people per day, with 375 new members, which is a record for the department. Our EB Youth Council works with our seniors. They make available leaf raking programs and, believe it or not, snow removal programs for seniors who are unable to do that themselves. We continue to have programs that work with our Board of Education on intergenerational type of programs, so it's not uncommon to see seniors in the school and to see kids in the senior center. All good programs. They served over 1,000 rides were given this year to seniors to get to medical appointments. There were over 10,000 home-delivered meals. And finally, the department celebrated its 50th anniversary here in East Brunswick, so we wish them a wonderful half-century anniversary. Our Department of Public Works has obviously been worked to the bone the last couple of days, especially with the last two snowstorms. And despite some complaints, which we get all the time regarding snow, these were two extraordinary snowstorms. One that left a lot of snow and, of course, left us with 2 weeks in freezing temperatures that didn't allow that snow to clear. This past snowstorm this week dumped almost 2 feet of snow, and that, I don't believe we've had a snowstorm like that in over a decade, probably even more. So I ask residents to be patient. This is not something we've seen that often. It was a long snowstorm that lasted many hours, and the staff is very limited in the number of hours they could do without taking rests, otherwise it's dangerous to them. And on top of all that snow, there were downed trees, making it very difficult to get to places. So by 24 hours from the time the storm had ended, all of the roads had been attended to. So I think we should give a good, happy and healthy thank you to them for doing all that work. So in addition to that work, they've renovated our Revenue Department offices this past year. They have laid about 1,600 tons of asphalt in terms of road repairs and water main breaks over the past year. And we are now in the second year of our 5-year IWS refuse contract. And while it was a little slow going in the beginning, but I would think most people at this point have been overwhelmingly happy with the service that we have this year and with the new contract that we've had for refuse and the removal of recycling. They also worked with our Department of Department of Transportation, helping with the water main replacement project that was a large part of the Route 18 work that everybody in town would love to see done. That water work was a $18 million project that, if it was done at the time of the construction, added a year to construction, but the state gave us half the money towards doing it. So that's kind of a no-brainer. Otherwise, you would see a massive increase in your water rates and water charges. So we took that, and we took the fact that we'll take an extra year, but they worked with them on that. There were 32 water main breaks in 2025. If any of you have been watching the alarms going off this past year, I think this year we are probably going to be beyond that. They were awarded a contract for the Kingswood Pump Station, which will allow us to convert the Community Arts Center from septic to sewer. They inspected 33 miles of sewer and video inspected 5 miles, so that's a lot of work for one department. Our East Brunswick TV produced 325 different productions, 490 unique videos, and their social media pages saw over 750,000 views. Some of them were for programs such as the program I do with Greg T., The Buzz About East Brunswick. There's a sustainability program called Pathways to Greener Living, and the Arts Coalition does a EB Subtract. So all these great programs they've been part of, and they work in conjunction in many times with our Human Relations Council, Chamber of Commerce, Playhouse 22, the Arts Commission, Clergy Council, and the Board of Ed to put really interesting programs out and to work uniquely with them to make sure that the public has an opportunity to see some of the things that they might not have otherwise been able to get out and see. The East Brunswick Public Library this past year really concentrated on inclusivity as their mantra and mission. Some of the programs that they came up with to reach that goal included a memory cafe for adults with early stage dementia. They have a Next Chapter, which is a book club for anyone in the neurodivergent adult community. They have now sensory-friendly library hours for both children, teens, and adults with autism. They have caregiver programs, Rainbow Reads, which is a LGBTQ plus reading group, and they have technical assistance hours for seniors who need help with problems on their mobile devices. Also worked very much on a sustainability initiative, providing programs such as the Repair Cafe, the Craft Supply Swap, and they received for that work the 2025 Environmental Achievement Award. Their Just for the Health of It program, which is now years in production and has gotten great reviews and is well known across the state, concentrated for the most part in conjunction with the idea of inclusivity on mental health. They have a social intern working with us, and they had teen and tween stress nights, which connected students with parents with mental health professionals and resources. Our IT department, which I always call the connective tissue for the entire East Brunswick organization, and I'm going to probably give a few things of what they've done because, frankly, when they write all the things they've done, I have no idea what half that stuff is. So I would sound like a fool, but believe me, they are very, very active and very busy, and I don't know where they rest. They enhanced the voice system for our community response unit with the police. They worked on the pump station hard drive and wired our new East Brunswick Ice Arena. They deployed the East Brunswick Recreation mobile app, implemented CrowdStrike, which is a security system for all of our township accounts. And if anybody doesn't know how important that is, read the news a couple of weeks ago about what just happened in our neighboring township of Spotswood. Security it can't be overemphasized. Right, Joe?
That's correct.
That's right. Planning and engineering. We continue to work on our pavement improvement program. We've been doing that since I've been mayor. This is now at least the 10th year. We repaved about 33 local roads and the entire senior center parking lot. We also received a transportation trust fund grant to work on Village Road, which was done this past year. We also worked on getting easement acquisitions for the corner of Ruse Lane and Old Bridge Turnpike, which will, in 2026, get a new traffic signal. Again, they worked on water projects on Route 18 with DPW, and also did help work with a lot of the water main repairs on Bernard Road, Renee Road, and Lake Ave. They worked with Parks and Rec on fixing and repaving the tennis courts at Pine Ridge Park. And we also received this past year a $1.5 million grant from the state of New Jersey to put a duplicate main water line under Route 1. As many people know, the main water line that comes into East Brunswick comes from the New Brunswick side of Route 1 underneath Riders Lane, underneath Route 1 onto Riders Lane, and then into East Brunswick. From there, it gets diverted. We also sell water to Spotswood, to South River, and to Helmetta. And we've had two main breaks on that line in the last 10 years. One was on our side, on Riders Lane, and then recently, the last couple of years, there was a main one on the New Brunswick side, but it's our line. If that were to happen under Route 1, which could happen, the line is over 60 years old, that would basically shut down Route 1. And the township and our water department would be responsible for the cost of that entire repair and mitigate damages for having to shut down Route 1. So that's a non-starter for us. So we will be looking to put a duplicate line underneath Route 1 to replace the 60-year-old pipe that's there. And the $1.5 million, while it is unlikely to cover the full cost, is a big head start on that major project. We also saw $166 million in new construction in the township over the past year, yielding us $3.1 million in fees. Our housing corporation continues to help affordable housing obligations to the township by addressing those issues and keeping the number of units that Fair Share Housing gives to East Brunswick at a reasonable and relatively low number compared to similarly sized townships in the state. There's about $2.8 million in their fund balance, and that will be used to help purchase additional affording housing units. Big project this year, as everybody knows, was the East Brunswick Ice Arena. That was a major project that was done in conjunction with the Planning and Engineering Department, Parks and Recreation, the Township, and of course, all of our contractors. The bid was separated. Terminal construction did all the construction short of the ice. That was a $26 million cost for that. Ice Builders was the ice contractor responsible for the ice, which is a highly specialized skill. That was about $3.8 million, and we put a solar roof on. The total cost comes out to somewhere between $33 and $34 million, which is far short of the $40 million which we were estimating at the very beginning of the project. So thrilled to have come in under budget. Grand opening for the rink will be on March 22nd, so look for ads on that. We will be investing $2.5 million in pavement management program for this year. We will also, now that we've got the easement rights, look at putting the traffic signal in at Ruse and Old Bridge Turnpike. We will be reconstructing the police parking lot, which is long overdue. And we got several years ago $2 million in state grants to help an expansion project for the Community Arts Center. That money will be going to the amphitheater expansion or the outdoor stage area, which will include, in addition to the stage, new lighting, new sound system, stadium type of seating, and much an area for a pit band in front so that it could be used for many more things than what it's used for right now. That will likely not start until the fall. Our Parks and Recreation Department, professional staff, all received 7 new certifications, which all came from local, state, and national conferences, which helps them and allows us to really be seen as the best in class among our Parks and Recs department. Some of the projects they did this year, they worked on Lenape, which is going to finish up this year. It will include a neurodivergent park, a new basketball and tennis courts, which are all being repaired, and a whole repaving of the lot. The Community Arts Center, we already spoke about that expansion. We saw this past year renovations at Country Lane Park and Welsh Park. And we saw them do a huge number of new programs. They're always coming up with something new. So some of the new programs that they did for this year was the Love Bug Dance, the Mother's Day Tea, the Food Truck-a-Palooza, and Puzzle Wars, on top of the regular programs, which include things that we're accustomed to, such as East Brunswick Day, 4th of July, Fly a Kite, and the Winter Wonderland. Some new programs they're also looking to do for next year include flag rugby, cooking classes, and crochet. The DAISY program raised over $62,000 this year in fundraising, making them for the first time in their history self-sustaining, which is a huge success and a huge achievement. Our Youth Council has 422 members, logging in 9,300 hours. The day camps saw 719 campers this year, and those included in our summer theater program. Crystal Springs saw 43,000 visitors this past year, and so it continues to grow each year. The big project, as I mentioned earlier, was the East Brunswick Ice Arena. And considering that this past week, we saw both the men's and the women's ice hockey teams win gold at the Olympics this year, I don't think it could come at a more timely time. With the men's goal being made, the gold goal by Jack Hughes, a member of the New Jersey Devils. And if anybody's been to Legacy, you will see that the names of the streets in Legacy, which is borders the rink, bear the names of the 5 New Jersey Devils players whose numbers have been retired. So there's a Devils theme here, and when we have them, and when we open up on the 22nd, the team is actually going to be coming out working with Learn to Skate programs and helping provide equipment for free to help folks and young kids get into the sport. So we can't wait for that to happen. But a big thank you to Keith Kipp and Mike Reisner, Joe Crisculo, and all of our professionals for getting that job done under budget and earlier than it was expected to open, and done with union labor. It was local jobs, feeding the local economy, and we're real proud of that. The last thing I want to mention is our relationship with the Board of Education. As many of you know, the Board of Education is a completely separate group than the Township. And while we collect tax dollars for the Board of Ed, for the county, for the fire departments, that money is sent to them. They manage it themselves. It is up to the public to elect Board of Education representatives to act in their behalf. We'll make no mistake or hide the fact that there's been some issues over the past, but with a new superintendent in place, new board president, we are in a good place. And I'm proud to say that we are in a good working relationship with the Board of Education. We have shared services, just recently signed an agreement, this council and the Board of Ed, for the use of the rink for the East Brunswick combined high school program, hockey program. We have our summer camp busing managed with and use of the buses and the bus drivers that are part of the school. So that arrangement is, again, an example of how we're working together. We're working together on trying to reduce the friction over the use of facilities, both at the school and at the township, to try to make it something that's a lot easier for folks to use, less expensive, and available to the public who, at the end of the day, have paid for all of those facilities. The topic of pilot programs on township redevelopment projects has come up in the past. Everyone should know that pilot money that comes into the township, if given to the schools, can only be done for capital projects. It cannot go into their general fund. And the township, as some of those funds come in, is already making plans to contribute back to the school. Last year, or this past, 2025, we did redid the parking lot at Warnsdorfer Elementary School. For 2026, 2027, we're looking to use some of our pilot money to help them put a brand new snack bar at the football field that's long overdue for repairs, and put outdoor bathrooms at the site so that folks don't need to go into the schools to use the bathrooms. And then finally, if we stick to that schedule and pilot money continues to come in at the rate we're hoping, by 2027, we are going to take some of our money that was given to us through state grant to put a enclosed pool, which we had originally thought we would do at Crystal Springs. But what we're thinking is a more useful location for that would be something that's shared with the high school and on the high school property. So that's a to-be-determined use, but it makes more sense for that to be something that school uses when school's in session, and when they're not using it, that folks in the township could use it, as opposed to the waste and cost of doing 2 separate indoor pools. And I think that makes more sense. And frankly, I don't believe any child should finish East Brunswick Public Schools without knowing how to swim. To me, we've seen in the past couple of years some unfortunate drownings here in East Brunswick, and that's a completely avoidable thing. So, in the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And for those of us that live here in the township and want to see it flourish and grow, it's all about dreams and vision and making that happen. So I think we're on a good track. I look forward to 2026 and beyond. And so with that, God bless the Township of East Brunswick, our residents, our staff, our troops and our first responders, and of course, the United States of America.